Happy first day of spring, everybody. Welcome back here to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. My name's Hunter. On this Thursday, March 20th, spring equinox has sprung, and we have more big storm systems moving through the United States that will bring heavy rain, severe weather, and yes, even more heavy snow to the United States as we go through the end of March and early April. We're going to be giving you the latest weather forecast here on this channel. So make sure to subscribe to my channel for the latest accurate, reliable weather information. Like the video by giving it a thumbs up, especially if you do enjoy it and find it informative for you, and share this video with friends, family, and on social media. Anybody that you know, definitely appreciate it. Let's look here at our temperatures for highs this afternoon. That cold front yesterday bringing some colder air down across the Midwest, Great Lakes and the Ohio Valley, hanging on to a ribbon of some warmer air for a time being on the warm side of the storm across the New England down into the mid-Atlantic, but that will be short-lived as the colder air will travel east and it moves into the northeast tomorrow, while the areas in the middle of the country will see a little rebound in our temperatures. You can see the yellows and oranges here. That indicates 50s and some 60s returning to the central high plains and parts of the Midwest, Ohio Valley for your Friday afternoon, March 21st. Now, we are dealing with a storm system. This is the same storm that brought some severe weather and tornadoes to the Midwest yesterday, and even some heavy snow to the same areas that saw that severe weather yesterday as well. We are seeing rainfall here across portions of the east. Again, while it's not super heavy, we do have some pockets of moderate to heavy downpours at times, and then we have some heavier wet snow moving mainly into southeastern Canada, but we are even seeing that across portions of the Detroit region down into Toledo, keeping an eye on some snow squall activity across Ohio, into Kentucky, eastern Tennessee, and West Virginia. Just kind of a day to stay indoors, maybe read a book, maybe just watch a movie or something here if you are at home. And then across the areas of the northeast as we go into overnight into Friday morning, just kind of a mix of rain and snow. Wintry mix is what we call it here across the Northeast as we go into Friday morning. So just be mindful of that if you're heading off to work or school tomorrow. Definitely going to be a little bit tricky of travel. The further north you go there into upstate New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, into Maine, it may be a little trickier travel with some slushy roads. Now, we're not talking about a lot of snow, but we're seeing a couple inches here at times across the Northeast, especially north and west of the I-95 corridor, maybe an inch or so there in Michigan, and then down the Appalachian chain there into the higher elevations of West Virginia, Western Virginia, and into the Smoky Mountains here, maybe an inch or so of snow there through Friday night. And the rainfall will be plentiful. We're going to actually see a soaking rain across the Northeast and New England areas here from Portland, Maine, all the way back into Concord, New Hampshire, west of Boston, down to Hartford and New York City. Could be seeing a good half inch, 3/4 of an inch of rain here, so a decent soaking across the Northeast through the end of the week. Now, as we go into Friday, there's the trough that's controlling our severe weather threat and our heavy rainfall threat from the Midwest into the east as we go here through the late week. We have another weak system bringing a little bit more cooler air down, kind of reinforcing that shot of cool air in the middle of the country today into tomorrow. Here's our third trough. Now that's entering into the Pacific Northwest, and that is going to cause some trouble as it kind of moves south and east. That could bring us some stronger thunderstorms. Now let's look at what we see nationwide. We already know about the storm in the east. We got more energy. That's with that third trough coming in across the Pacific Northwest, bringing higher elevation snows of the Cascades and the northern Rockies. That'll continue to bring some heavier snows there as we go through this evening, tonight, and going into Friday, and more rain for Seattle and Portland as well. And then another fire hose of moisture moves in through the day on Friday up there. And this is going to cause a lot of some heavy snowfall accumulations. We're talking 1 to 3 feet across a lot of these areas. The Cascades, Washington State southward to Oregon, and the Northwest Rockies there in Idaho, western Montana, and as far east as western Wyoming. Could be seeing some of that as we round out the week. Now, ahead of that trough into the weekend, this is Saturday, March 22nd and Sunday, March 23rd. We're going to be warming our temperatures up. So we turn the winds around from the south. We warm up a little bit here across the high plains, and that will set the stage for another big storm that's going to slip southeastward across the United States and really just kind of set up our pattern. Look at that, set up our pattern as we go into next week. Trough in the east, ridge in the west here. So we're going to talk about more of that in just a moment. But here comes that big storm. Here's the energy across the Pacific Northwest, slipping southeast with snow at first, and then some rain, more soaking rain for our friends in Chicago. Chicago, Des Moines, all the way down to Indianapolis there, Paducah, and then severe weather further south where we have the instability and moisture come back as we go into the lower Mississippi Valley near the Gulf Coast and the southern plains as we go into the weekend. And here is the severe weather outlook. This is the day 3 outlook from the Storm Prediction Center in Norman, Oklahoma, having a level 1 out of 5, marginal risk of severe weather from Missouri, northwest Arkansas, into eastern Kansas and eastern Oklahoma. Mainly wind and hail here, as it's going to be an overnight threat, so the tornado threat should be muted because the moisture return is really not going to be that great. But on Sunday, much more widespread area and kind of upping the ante, if you will, for severe weather. This is a level 2 out of 5 slight risk from East Texas along and east of the I-35 corridor all the way up towards the Music City and Nashville. Even southern Kentucky could be seeing some severe weather as we go into Sunday. This is for March 23rd. So let's look at that. Moisture return, that strong cold front, that's bringing all the cold air. Cold air is dry air, right? So we're going to scour out the moisture as we go through the end of the week, and it's going to plummet really all the way down to Cuba. So it's going to take a lot of time to get that moisture back north. And I don't think Saturday's looking to be that significant of a day because the moisture really doesn't get all the way to Missouri into that marginal risk until overnight and really early Sunday morning. I think Sunday's looking to be a more significant day as we get that moisture pooling ahead of that cold front before that pulls it south toward the Gulf Coast by Monday. So let's look here at the instability. This is your storm energy for Saturday. Notice Saturday afternoon, the storm energy only in Oklahoma doesn't even make it to that marginal risk area until overnight, and that's when we see the storm threat. And usually when you have overnight storm threats, storms are more elevated here and they're not surface based, so we see more hail, maybe some gusty winds, but the tornado threat is very, very, very low. So let's look here at the instantaneous flash rate. This is where you see lightning potentially appearing on the radar. Notice Saturday morning, nothing happening. Midday, nothing. Afternoon, nothing. And then as we go into the evening, especially late evening into the overnight, we have a cluster of showers and storms here from Kansas into Missouri, south into Oklahoma and Arkansas. These could pose the risk for hail, some gusty winds potentially, but the tornado threat should stay very low as the moisture return just isn't great for that. But as we go into Sunday, this is Sunday afternoon, dew points ahead of that cold front with that storm that's all the way up towards Chicago, bringing the soaking rain up there. We're going to see the moisture pooling ahead of the cold front into the low mid 60s here, maybe close to 70 near coastal Texas. Plenty for some storm energy out there. A lot more of it for Sunday. Notice especially as you get into East Texas there into Louisiana, over 2,000 joules per kilogram. And that means that cluster of storms, while it could leave maybe an outflow boundary for some storms in Tennessee, Alabama, and Mississippi, more storms will form back south and west towards East Texas, Louisiana, and southern Arkansas as we go into Sunday afternoon, more so Sunday evening, and then into the overnight hours as a big MCS, a mesoscale convective system, a good rush of wind along the leading edge of that line, 60, 70 miles an hour, some hail, quarter size, maybe a little bit larger, and a couple of tornadoes cannot be ruled out on the kinks on the leading edge of that line. So looking at the heavy rainfall from that system, you know, some decent soaking rain for the Midwest again into the Ohio Valley, upwards to 1 inch, and then over 1 inch of rain across many areas from Tennessee down into Alabama, western Georgia, Mississippi, down into Louisiana and East Texas, while areas in West Texas, westward into New Mexico and Arizona and Southern California will remain mainly bone dry as we go into the weekend ahead. So wildfire risk is going to continue to grow, and the drought risk will continue to grow as we go into the weekend. Now, like I said, that storm system is going to start to give us a new pattern as we go into next week, right? This is Monday, March 24th through Friday, March 28th. We got a trough in the east, cooler weather. We got a ridge in the west, warmer weather, and it's very well depicted here on our 5-day average temperature anomaly map. You can see cooler in the east, warmer in the west. That's as simple as it gets, and it's pretty dry too, right? Cooler air is drier air, so we're going to see us dry out to the east a little bit. Maybe some active weather over the Atlantic, but, you know, that's a fish activity over there. We're not seeing a lot of humans in the Atlantic Ocean, right? So we're not seeing any a lot of activity there. But down here in South Texas, we're definitely seeing the potential for some rainfall, maybe even some thunderstorms, and then maybe a little bit of activity on the apex of that ridge in southwestern Canada. Looking here as we go to the end of this month, we're going to see that pattern continue. However, the ridge is going to become a little bit more progressive from west to east. And what I mean by progressive, it's going to shift further east, and we're going to see another trough develop in the west. And that could give us an active storm and potentially a strong storm for the Midwest again as we go into the end of the month. What that brings, could it bring severe weather? Could it bring heavy rainfall and flash flooding? Or could it bring heavy snow and a blizzard again? We don't know yet, but definitely seeing the potential for snow in the mix, at least with further north extent into Minnesota, the Dakotas, Wisconsin, Michigan, over there into the northeast, especially again northwest of the I-95 corridor. Where have we seen that all winter? Yeah, exactly. That's that area right there that we're seeing some pretty heavy snow again as we go to the end of the month. Stick with me with the latest weather information here on my channel by subscribing to the channel, the latest accurate and reliable weather information. Like the video, especially if you did enjoy it, found it informative for you, and also share this video with friends, family, and on social media. What we're going to do either this evening or tomorrow will be probably a spring and summer update forecast. So that's probably what we're going to be looking at as we move forward, and then we'll get right back into the local weather forecast across the United States thereafter. So we're going to update you on the spring and summer, and then we're going to go right back to that either later this evening or tomorrow. We're going to put that video out for you to update you on what's to come as we go through the spring here and into summer as well. Thank you for watching, everybody, and have a wonderful and safe rest of your Thursday out there.